Hi guys, hi everyone. Are we ready to take on the giants? If we aren't, we will be now. So next up, we dive into how to deal with the great big festive rush. You can plan and plan and plan, but the chaos is guaranteed. We can't eliminate it, but we can learn how to mitigate it. Some real industry bigwigs are joining us for the next one. You don't want to miss this one. So over to Vedi.
Thanks, Naren. Sorry, we were facing some audio issues. Perfect. Thanks, Nilanjana, for that intro. We have a super exciting panel with us and hope to end this entire event with a big bang. We have Anuj from Razorpay, we have Ishwar from Nykaa, and Dharma from Tata Click. Do switch on your cameras, folks, and I'll hand it over to Anuj to do the intros. Ishwar, Dharma.
Awesome. Thank you, Vedi. Awesome. Thank you, Vedi. Hello, everyone. Hope you have had fun and a lot of learning over the last 3 days. As we all know, this is the ultimate session for this season. Let's make the most out of it. We have two phenomenal folks from the industry with us. Let me quickly introduce themselves. We have Dharmarajan with us. Dharmarajan is the CBO of Tata Click. He's a tech enthusiast and a customer experience practitioner. He's a results-proven business leader with over 18 years of experience in senior leadership roles, with experience in customer experience management, startups, large operations management, CRM product, greenfield setup, and risk management across multiple sectors: retail, e-commerce, telecom, and financial services. Welcome, Dharma.
Thanks. Pleasure to be here. I'm happy to share my thoughts, our thoughts, what we do here at Tata Click. Thanks for sort of inviting me here.
Thank you. We also have Ishwar with us. Ishwar is an accomplished product leader known for his ability to drive business success through strategic product leadership. With a wealth of expertise in product strategy, innovation, and a profound commitment to crafting exceptional user experiences, Ishwar excels in the realms of customer experience, B2B platforms, supply chain optimization, and payments ecosystem. His transformative experiences at Sam's Club, Amazon, and Microsoft have been instrumental in shaping him into a customer-centric product leader of exceptional merit. Thanks a lot, Ishwar, for joining us today.
Thanks, Anuj. Thanks for inviting. Looking excited to participate in the discussion.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. So I'll kickstart the conversation with the theme, which is the Great Festive Rush. As Vedi mentioned, the rush comes with a lot of chaos of its own, which is also a part of the excitement and charm. I would request Dharma and Ishwar, both of you, to share your thoughts on the significance of the festive season for D2C brands like yours. How do you see this festive season from a business perspective, and how do you plan for it? Dharma, if you can go first.
Yeah, sure, Anuj. As you know, we as a part of B2C industry, and this is the biggest time. These 3 months contributes to almost 40% of our business, and I am sure that it will not be very different for some of the others here as well in the retail industry. It's a fairly unique in that sense, in terms of getting to see very sharp spikes of sales that happens in this period, and there are like multiple waves. It's not just one straight flat line. Suddenly it goes up and comes down. There are multiple spikes. And as a retailer, e-commerce retailer, most of us start the preparation for festive almost like 6 months prior to the festive itself. There are tons of things that happens from deciding on what categories and what products and brands to double down on in terms of your prep with the best offer for consumers, availability of inventory, and giving those, ensuring those POs are sent out on time. and then comes various other aspects. Maybe Ishwar can sort of go a little deeper on the whole preparation on the technology side, getting ready for 10x the volume on visits, and yeah, anywhere between 5x to 50x on customer orders, and every single part of the entire buying process getting and gearing up for this period. It's a challenge, but at the same time, each one of us sort of look forward to it. I'm one of those fortunate ones who saw it for the first time with Big Billion Sale with Flipkart, and the energy still continues. And we have different names in different places, but essentially, we are here to serve consumer during this period where they want to buy the best of whatever is available in the country, every category, every product, and where we as a retailer, e-commerce retailer, try and provide the best possible experience end to end on tech, on platform, off platform, delivery assurances, adherence to timelines on whatever we promise, and then managing the entire supply chain so that we deliver the products well before the D-Day for which they are ordering this product for. Very exciting, very interesting, and it's just about to get kickstarted.
That's great, Dharma. I believe you'll be planning your personal travel only during the 3 months when neither the event nor the preparation is happening. So
Yeah, it is like that. No, I still remember the first time when we did back in 2013 uh, to as late as like last year, last year. It's a mandatory practice that you sleep in the office for a week uh, whenever that event happens, and it is all to ensure that we are able to provide that seamless experience to customer, and it requires a lot of work. There are so many moving parts, so many moving elements, trying to bring that all together so that we adhere to the promise that we give to consumers. So it's yeah, from that aspect, it's very interesting, challenging, and exciting all at the same time.
awesome. That's quite exciting. Ishwar, your thoughts on this? How do you see this at Nika?
Yeah, I think I'll echo to some of the points which Dharma raised. So, in general, festive season is a season where customers are in the mood of shopping, right? People want to try out new brands. They want to shop a lot. Because they generally there's this perception they get more discounts during the season, etc. So it just adds a lot of brings in a lot of traffic to specifically for e-commerce sites, and to be to be fair, like actually customers don't expect much during festive season, right? They want to have a normal experience as any other day, but the sheer challenge which puts on our systems is what sometimes leads to it takes a lot of planning to make sure that we give that normal experience to the customer, right? Purely from operations, right? The amount of planning it goes to make sure that we get the right inventory so that we can serve all our customers, and the planning it goes into our warehouses so that we can ship it on time, and the same time the stress it puts on our logistics network so that we can actually get them delivered to the customer on time, right? That's what we all are trying to achieve during the festive season. To put it simply, we do a lot of dirty work to make sure that customer doesn't feel a thing about the peak.
Awesome. And then just imagine our life, Ishwar. We power a lot of brands on the payment side of it. So all the rush comes in together. So we live the same sentiment as well for during
And
that season.
yeah, this is felt across the board, and I've had some very interesting conversation around the entire aviation industry's cargo space not available, and there are times when you just don't have enough space available for you to book any air shipments. There are like some very unique challenges, and I've seen when we did for the first time Big Billion Day. For some reason, we started at 8 a.m. in the morning, and Tatkal service went down. So it's that big an impact. And Tatkal, ticket booking, it starts at 8 in the morning. So these are like really sharp spikes,
Yes.
unlike what anyone anywhere across the globe would have seen. So
Yeah. And it's not just the like we all plan for the peak, but planning is never 100% perfect, right? You can never estimate the demand data. So the key part is how you do the flexible planning, right? If your demand is beyond what you expected, how can your systems can handle it? That's a key part.
Absolutely, absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. Let's move over to the first part of a consumer's journey on your platforms, which is the product discovery side of it. It's a how, or rather, what have you done to establish various points of discovery? What has worked well and what hasn't? So, Ishwar, if we can start with you.
Yeah. So, see, I think when it comes to on the Nika side, right? Like most often it starts with from a brand perspective, you know exactly what customers you're targeting from your brand, and even from product perspective, the what is the specific need you're targeting from the on the customer, right? And the discovery boils down to following this strategy, right? Be it in terms of what kind of influences you tap into so that you can reach the right set of customers. Similarly, what kind of targeted advertising you do so that you can actually reach out to the right customers. And even in the offline space, right? I think specifically on Nika side, we try to tap into the mood of the season so that we actually target the right set of customers. Example, during festive season, it is actually a great time to increase your marketing spends on ethnic wear categories, whereas probably it's not such a great time to increase the spends on western wear kind of categories, because in a way the discovery boils down to that.
It makes a lot of sense, Ishwar. Dharmarajan, at your end, how similar or how different is your approach towards products discovery?
Very similar. Very similar. You would start seeing specific stores start emerging on the platform. As you move along the festive journey, it starts as early, say, for example, for us, it starts with, say, Rakhi, and then moves on to Pujo, and from Pujo to Navratri, Navratri to Dashera, Dashera to Diwali. Each one has this unique sort of offering for us, and then we keep sort of changing. And it's a and we are not a uniform, homogeneous country. The way the festival is celebrated in every part of the country is very different and very unique. Uh, like Durga Puja is specific to one part. Similarly, Navratri in some part of the country, we try and use some bit of personalization based on geo to identify if somebody is sort of coming in from which part of the country. We show them pages, stores, feed which is relevant to them and most relevant to them. And here it sort of overlay the whole festive on top of it, which is about if you are from particular part of the region where you celebrate Dashera more than others, and it's celebrated a little differently, and what exactly you do, it gets precedence in terms of the kind of attire you wear, kind of makeup, kind of beauty, kind of anything and everything to do with that, which is what even Ishwarya was talking about. Ethnic takes precedence over some of the other categories. At the same time, we are trying to sort of go as granular as possible on personalization. At a very high level, it's like a geo one, but want to go create those cohorts so that some of our customers who are so affined to some of the categories which are, say, western wear and apparel, which is not sort of completely in sync with the festive, we don't alienate them. So which means it becomes very important for us to use the technology at the back end so that we have relevance for each one who comes onto the platform. And this is predominantly on the homepage side. On the search, we do a lot of personalization, which means what when you are searching for a pair of shoes, what I will show you, Anuj, will be very different from what I'll show for Ishwar, and I'm sure the others will be also doing something very very similar. And this also helps in terms of discovering the right products, taking a lot of signals from what this customer has done in the past, what she likes, what she doesn't like, where does she want to see. All of that happens. Also, this is a great time where some of our brands also launch lot of their collections, new releases, which is very specific to this season. This is could be in a certain category like women's wear or in beauty. We create provision for exclusive provision for bringing that to the fore, which means consumer get to see what are the latest launches happening exclusively on this festive season, so that the information is available up in front, and she can get and go deeper. So these are some of the discovery led changes that we do. And then for existing consumers, there are a lot of things that we do on the CRM side, with the capability around WhatsApp messaging, your rich media, push notification. Rather than talking about product, we talk a lot about ranges, listing pages, etc., which also helps with our understanding of the customer to sort of get them to the right catalog, so that they can browse through and understand what we are trying to sort of double down on, etc. So those are some of the things you will see with a very different lens. Some of us play around at this time of the year.
This is great, Dharma, and you have touched a very important point, which is personalization. So, Ishwar, your thoughts on that? How are you using data for personalization, both on the marketing campaign side of it as well as the product recommendation side of it at Nika?
See, I think if you look at it, right, traditionally, e-commerce industry, has been heavily, a lot of growth is driven through, through discounts. But now you see that industry is evolving. Now, convenience, the kind of ease of use is probably, taking, major factor in customers' purchase decisions. And key to achieve this use, give this ease of use experience and the convenience, is where the personalization plays a role in it, right? And a lot of this personalization is also based on the behavioral data which customer does, based on the context you have about the customer, and you can cater the recommendations, be it the homepage, or even the marketing campaigns, are in a way personalized to the customer. That's how the industry is evolving towards, where all of these interactions are personalized to the each individual customers. And we still have a long way to go compared to the traditional offline experience. As an example, if you walk to a fashion store, right, the salesman pretty much knows your size, what will fit you, or kind of brands you're wearing. He knows what kind of brands you target. And still online is far away from that kind of personalization. I think with the role of AI coming in, this gap is gonna come down and probably will be on par in future with offline personalization, I would say. And this is same even for beauty stores, right? If you walk into an offline beauty store, the beauty advisor know like what kind of a foundation to recommend you, etc. So, and online is still not there yet, but that's the path we are going towards.
Yep. So essentially, what you are saying is, Ishwar, in case of an offline store, personalization is more intuition driven, whereas on the online side, it's more data and past purchases driven, right?
Yes,
So,
that is right. Even in offline, it's not intuition, but you have the data, real time data right there. But
this is the intuitive approach of the advisor sitting over there,
that is
right?
right.
So,
Yeah.
makes sense, makes a lot of sense. So, at the cost of digressing at this juncture, I have a different question. Right now, we have been talking from the lenses of our roles within our organizations. Both of you are high-end consumers for most of the audience of this event. Right. So, how do you go about deciding on what all channels have you seen working out for you when you are deciding to select a product to buy? And what has been the most impulsive thing that you have bought over the last 2 years, merely basis something which you saw somewhere? Dharma, if you can go first on
Yeah,
this.
sure, Anuj. I don't know how others feel. I think that whole Insta shopping for discovery is real. I have sort of ordered some crazy stuff from pair of trousers, like funny looking ones, to pair of shoes, few other clothing from across the globe. And in fact, in few cases, you don't even know where it's going to be shipped from. All you know is it's a a PayPal account there, where you're a little confident to use that account and then make the payment, and then later on figure out whether the product comes in. Typically, it takes about 3 weeks, but it's a great platform for discovery. And I also feel even some of our D2C brands, I've explored, for the first time through some of these social channels, and on personal basis. We have a pet at home. Bought a few stuff for our pet through some of the brands I came to know, and once I came to know, then became like an almost loyalist of those brands for really high quality capability. That so essentially, the presence I feel, and the way it is sort of showcased on some of high engagement social channels are very important. If you are a new brand, it will take a certain time frame for you to sort of establish. And there, I've done like a lot of experimentation. That's my personal thing, uh, which works. Yeah, mostly it is around some of those social and Insta where it's really worked, and I will believe that a lot of us are experimenting with what you're getting to see. It is to do with the quality of content that is put up there. It is so beautifully shot, very crisp in terms of communication, very clear articulation of what the brand is, and how it adds value for me, and targeting something where I am the audience. So all of this is important and critical. And since it hits the right spot, you end up sort of spending certain amount of money and converting. Also, this is a great time for offline shopping as well. All said and done, we are maybe from the e-commerce as an industry, but can't take the love out of going out to a shopping mall or any other high street to shop. uh, Maybe there's a great time to have reasons for consumer to drop in, which is beyond the ordinary normal, not just constrained to discounting or offer led. If it is value led, I'll be like really keen on.
Wow. And can I take those funny looking trousers to be the craziest thing you have bought in the last couple of years, or
There,
is
there are
there
like tons
something
of
more?
stuff. Well, I can't tell you. For example, some sneaker cleaners. There's outstanding some sneaker cleaners from across the globe. Uh, I love buying
Wow.
sneakers, and bought a couple of them as well. And those are like some unique products. And now I think some of Indian brands have also launched and doing reasonably well. So these are, yeah, things that you don't essentially looking out for, and you suddenly see it in front of you and realize that how badly I need them, and I needed them, and you ended up buying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll reach out to you offline, Dharma, to get recommendations on that. So, Ishwar, your thoughts on something on the channels which have worked for you, and the craziest purchase
Yeah.
that you have done.
So I think one thing that comes to my mind, right? I think we probably all used to, if you have gone to offline stores, you'll see there's a lot of samples coming your way. And mostly in offline stores, we don't, because there's so many people, giving samples at you, we don't put some much emphasis. But at Nykaa, this has recently happened. My wife placed an order on Nykaa, and they have sent out a free, lip balm sample. So after, normally I would have never bought it, or my wife would have never bought it. But when she got that sample, she tried it and she started liking it so much that she became continuously, she started buying that brand, right? So one advantage I think in online space, right, specifically in Nykaa, what we do is that send out these targeted samples, so that which is these samples are also in line with what customer would probably like, right? I think this is one innovative approach which I saw that it kind of led to impulsive shopping.
Wow. That's great. And what would be the crazy impulsive piece? I would believe lip balm is it. But Ishwar, you're hiding something from us.
Yeah. No, I think if you ask me what is, I actually I this is like I was actually teaching my daughter the binoculars, and once I thought, hey, let me buy a binocular, and I started getting a lot of, like, I was doing a lot of research on binoculars, and I started getting a lot of binocular ads, and I ended up placing an order for a binocular, and it's just lying there, not doing much in my house.
I for a minute thought Dharma has removed his glasses to get his binoculars from the room. But jokes apart, so let's moving on to the next piece, which is customer engagement. Now we've discussed about product discovery, we have discussed about personalization and data. We have customers. All of us have customers. The engagement piece of it. What are some of the innovative approaches which are used by both you and your organizations to engage customers during the festive season? So
So I
Ishwari,
think
we can start
during the
with you.
season, we acquire a lot of customers, right? Naturally, because of the sheer traffic, and in general, acquiring is probably the easiest part, but retaining them is a harder part. Uh, and at Nykaa, I think one thing which we do is that we are not trying to just be a beauty store; we are also trying to be a beauty advisor. So in relation to that, we do a lot of engagement in terms of creating content that is relevant to the customer. You'll see, in Nykaa we have this, live streaming events where customers can actually engage with the beauty advisors and ask questions, etc. Right. So it's not just about acquiring, but we follow through the customer and also try to engage them in various channels. So I think that's one thing which we do at Nykaa.
Amazing. How about you, Dharma?
See, even for us, engagement, it's very similar to what Ishwar mentioned. We know that the content plays an important role. Important role pre-purchase, while purchase, after purchase. Pre-purchase is what works best for me, and beauty as a category. It's a very high on experimentation, and it's a slightly unrewarding cycle of experimentation. You don't know what is best suited for you. You end up trying out multiple products. And then the sort of hit eureka, this is the right one for me, and at some point and some stage, and there is where the whole role of content that comes in, wherein depending on which region, your type, your preferences, etc., there are really good content available. We are trying to create our own plus source content onto the platform and personalize and show to the right consumers. This helps customer to be connected with the platform, which is beyond. There is a reason for her to sort of come, learn, get educated, also understand what are the new ingredients that are doing, what are the new ways of new routine to follow, new regimen to follow, what works, what doesn't work, and all of that. And once you have bought in terms of how to use, when to use, and so on and so forth, content plays a big role in terms of engaging, which goes beyond commerce. And apart from that, we have some of the like probably amongst the best loyalty programs, which is almost like a federal loyalty program at a group level, uh, which is earn and burn across multiple retail sort of platforms within the Tata group. So you can stay at touch and earn the points and come and buy your favorite beauty brand on our platform. So the points that you earn, and you can earn it through Titan, Westside, Big Basket, Chroma, 1MG. You can earn anywhere, burn anywhere. It's a fabulous engagement tool for consumers when you have such a large 80 to 100 million base of D2C consumers here. And it's a strong tool and engagement method for consumers to be in the ecosystem, where every transaction of theirs is valuable for next transaction. So again, we invest quite a bit on the engagement side. These are like two large sort of levers. Other than that, from time to time, there are various online and offline initiative very similar to what you should call out on, say, live streaming event, which is specific to online consumers. How do you bring them together? For offline, we have recently we just opened our first store. We are about to launch a few more in the coming months, where we do master classes for customers. This is purely for engagement purpose. letting her know in terms of how to apply, when to apply, whatever product that she's using, specific to the brand that she prefers, in and around the area. And all of this is with engagement in mind.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just add to some of the Dharma points which Dharma raised. I think most of the loyalty programs, right, even be it Tata Click or Nika, they're not just purely for earning, right. We also look at it as a building a relationship with the customer, right. And specifically in Nika, right, I think we have a preview program where once you have established a relationship with the customer, right, the kind of experience we provide to them is probably be different, is differentiated. So that's how we tend to build relationships with the customer. And so that's what I want to one call out. The engagement is also is in a way that kind of relationship that you build with the customer.
Sure. Makes a lot of sense. I wasn't aware of the unified loyalty program at Tata Group. I'll certainly start looking at where am I buying and where are the points going there. So that's something which I was completely unaware of. So AI has become a buzzword in customer experience today. How are you and your organizations using AI and technology in enhancing customer experiences? Any examples that you can share, Dharma?
Sure.
If you can go first on it.
Yeah, so two, three straightforward ones, which we've been using for a little while. It's almost like about 2, 3 years, around the chatbot and use of chatbot. We started with pre-sales queries for consumers. These are NLP capable chatbots. We started with specific electronics categories, wherein if a customer can have any open-ended question, we were able to respond to those questions and bring them to select few, which helps them in terms of choosing the right product to buy. And also we were using it for a post-order query, very simple, straightforward ones, where again using chatbot as a tool. That's how we started our journey. And then today we use it at multiple places, in various sort of elements. Our entire marketing stack, which is built on data, it does a real-time sort of capability to showcase the right products, right recommendation to customer. It takes in it sort of at the back end, we use some of the ML and AI capabilities to showcase the right products and right even content to the consumers, and that's where we use. And also, very early stages of we started testing some of the generative AI capabilities as well. Uh, it works really well with certain text creation, and also generative AI also works very well with computer vision, image creation, etc. But anything beyond that, it's still sort of to be solved. We started testing on a mass content-led campaign creation, etc. If I had to personalize a unique content for every customer and create one image, we tested out a single campaign wherein we sort of almost created about 10,000 images, all through generative AI. Um, it's still early stages. It's still early because we are not 100% confident of the output that it has given us in terms of the quality of the imagery, etc. Because it is very difficult for you to go back and assess whether it adhere to every single norm that you have put. But in terms of output, which is the impact of that campaign, it was mildly positive. So it is so definitely not negative. So it is at par with what we were doing earlier. In fact, it was slightly better than that. But this is still very early days. There are like lots and lots of use cases which are already lined up, where we are using some of the AI capability. We use it today for our customer delivery promise. It's a fairly complex problem, unlike some of the others where we are like connecting almost like 6,500 stores with about 24,000 pin codes. And in a scenario, and then to add to it, then you have multiple categories, and each category has its own nuance. Some are, air categories, some are surface categories, and then you add the layer of DG, dangerous goods. It becomes highly complex when you are sort of picking item from 6,000 places and shipping it to 24,000 and zip codes, and accurately promising them that your product will get delivered on or before that particular date. We started with very basic model, now fairly advanced, and our adherence to that promise also is it's in the acceptable range, where we are using, and we are building on top of that. So these are some of the areas where you're using AI today.
Awesome. Thank you,
I think
Dharma.
I'll
Ishwar,
mostly
how about you?
echo to what Dharma has said. Right, most of the tech-led e-commerce firms, leverage AI in the space of recommendations, discovery, search, and in the in the customer surveys. I think these are generally most of the tech-led companies adopt. These are the first use cases we go towards. But what you see is that there is emerging trend that's coming with the capabilities of Gen AI. Right, traditionally for e-commerce, what you have seen is that customers do the entire research elsewhere in Google or something, let's say, and then come to the e-commerce sites and search for lehenga. But with Gen AI, I think this paradigm is slowly shifting. Now, you can see that you can even customers actually can come and search for what to wear for wedding, etc., on the e-commerce sites itself. And similarly, I was echoing to the previous examples, right? Take a beauty advisor role. Typically in the online space, you used to not get that, but with Gen AI capabilities, you can actually enable these kind of experience to the customer. Similarly, on the customer support side, I think the kind of experiences where chatbots can give is probably as good as what a human would give. And these are some of the trends which we are see as coming in the Gen AI space for specifically.
Sure. Thank you, Ishwar. So, as much as I would love to continue this conversation, my team is continuously reminding me that we are at time. Thanks a lot, Ishwar. Thank you, Dharma. I'll just quickly summarize the conversation and share a few key takeaways from this conversation. I actually have 9 of them. I have been making notes along with the conversation. Talking about starting with the length/duration of the festive season and the amount of preparation it takes. So it's a 3-month long season contributing to 40% of the annual sales on an average, with multiple sharp spikes. Preparation time in itself takes about 6 months for this 3-month season. On the product discovery side of it, what we learned today is that the marketing spend on certain categories increases depending on regional nuances and on the right set of customers which brands are targeting. We also spoke about how CRMs and WhatsApp messaging can be used to connect the right catalog to the users on the discovery side of it. One good example which we heard from Ishwar today is around the targeted samples which Nykaa is working towards. We also spoke about unified loyalty program which Dharma mentioned, which encompasses multiple brands of the Tata Group. We also spoke about acquisition and retention both being driven by the loyalty program and at the same time giving a differentiated experience to the loyalty program members, which Ishwar walked us through Nykaa's strategy around it. And the last bit is content becoming a massive player in the engagement with the customers, and chatbots, generative AI, customer delivery being some of the prominent use cases of using tech and AI within the D2C ecospace. On top of it, I have taken my personal takeaways on when to reach out to Dharma and Ishwar on what are different things. So that's that. And thanks again, Ishwar and Dharma. With this, we'll move into Q&A.
Sure.
Hey everyone, I have note of some very interesting questions that have come in, and I'll direct them to you folks. So just taking a cue from what we were discussing last, there were a couple of questions that came in specifically about handling the supply chain aspect of it. I think Dharma was also talking about it in depth, right? So what are some of the tools and processes that you use to actually control errors in terms of fulfillment at both Nykaa and Tata Click? And how do you manage this kind of scale during the festive season? If you can just talk about it a little bit.
Sure. I can take that. So I think when it comes to supply chain, the key part is the planning. And when we say talk about planning, right, no matter how much you plan, nobody can actually predict the demand accurately, right? There's always some variation to it. So the key part in supply chain is planning for that variation. So at least if you have a strategy in place, right? Like example, you are expecting 100 demand, but there is 110 demand. So what is the strategy you want to play in role, right? It could be that, hey, we want to, still, even if demand is beyond what we expected, we still want to retain the customer experience, which means, how do you make sure that what's the strategy you have in place to make sure that you fulfill this extra demand to the so the customer experience is not compromised. The strategy could also be that, hey, we are okay if the demand goes beyond certain extent, we are okay to take on hit on customer experience. Then your strategy could be different. I think that is what is critical in my view. Dharma, if you want to add.
Very similar, very similar. And we also have it's like almost a tenet based document note for managing supply chain during festive season. We also have predefined logic if the demand goes beyond X%, and we try and see if there are alternative higher cost route, which will I as a player I will sort of take into my account without having any impact for the consumers. Then if it goes beyond that number, then we have customer experience impacting, which means I start modifying the promise dates to customer. So any further order that comes in, instead of giving them 3-day promise, I tell them 4 days or 5 days, depending on my capacity to process those orders, etc. So that is at one stage. And then we have is our extreme measures, we call it as demand shaping, wherein if the supply chain or the supply system is not capable of managing demand, we sort of almost like halt certain roads, which essentially means you reduce the promotions that is currently running on certain SKUs, a certain category, certain product, so that at no time the customer faces a bad experience once she places the order. It is better to not to take the order in, rather than take the order in and not be able to deliver or cancel the order or delay the delivery and so on and so forth. And the supply is end to end. It is like your warehousing, your logistics, your customer services. Every single team works on a certain capacity which is pre-planned, and very difficult to sort of increase and decrease on the fly. Especially on CS side, it's almost like about 2.5 months of lead time, where you have to hire, train for specific time frame, and when they are ready. Supply chain is still logistics side is a little faster, but still it requires tons of sort of planning. And we also do something called as control tower. These are sort of a specific sort of operational entity that is that gets created specifically for the event, so that we have real time visibility and taking on the fly calls. If this, then what, etc. You create the scenarios and keep acting really fast, minimize both efficiency as well as experience impact.
Got it. That was super insightful. Thank you. I think we are at time. There were a lot more questions, but you can obviously connect with Ishwar and Dharma over LinkedIn. Nilanjana, over to you.
Thank you, Vaidehi. Thank you so much, guys. That was a really insightful session. One hell of a session, I would say. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
For the audience joining us live, I hope we are now all a bit prepared for the festive rush, because the chaos is fast approaching. Thank you so much, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. So thank you, folks. Thank you all for joining us all through the 3 days. It was really good. That's a wrap on Razorpay D2C Sparkx 2023. The Razorpay team here had worked super hard to put this together for you. Our hearts are full, and thank you so much. And that's a wrap. We hope you have a splash this festive season and celebrate massive growth and a happy Diwali. That's all from Razorpay. Thank you.